my glasses.
Okay. Here's the speech today. Dan, Jan, Michelle, Allison, Anna, Lynn Foreman,
Mom?
Maddie. All right. Here we go.
The guts, the glory, and the bragging rights. College rivalry plays a huge part in our lives today. Rivals such as Ohio State and Michigan, Alabama and Auburn, Duke and North Carolina. These are just to name a few of the top college rivalries today. The one I'm going to talk to you about is the Kansas-Missouri rivalry. Even though the Civil War ended some 143 years ago, the Missouri-Kansas border war continues to this day, although in a different way and for a different reason. The settlers and the soldiers of yesteryear have now been replaced with college students and college athletes. The two great universities involved, the University of Missouri and the University of Kansas, still wage war against each other for reasons many still don't know or understand. So people always ask, why is this rivalry so big? The rivalry started back in 1850s with the open violence involving anti-slavery and pro-slavery that took place in the Kansas Territory and some Missouri towns. These attempts were by Missourians, then a slave state, to influence Kansas would enter the Union as a free or slave state. The Jayhawkers, known as the Kansas, attacked 6 Missouri towns which burned and destroyed them. The Missourians fired back 2 years later with the leader William Quantrell's famous raid on Lawrence, Kansas, which murdered over 200 people and burned down the town of Lawrence. Neither Missouri or Kansas folks have forgotten it, which began the bitter rivalry between Kansas and Missouri. Both the University of Kansas and Missouri got their mascots from the Civil War. Kansas was referred to as Jayhawkers, so they decided to make their mascot a Jayhawk. However, it wasn't referred to as a cute little baby bird, but rather they chose it to honor settlers and soldiers of Kansas Territory from the Civil War. The Jayhawk combines 2 birds, the blue jay, a noisy, aggressive bird known to rob other nests, and the sparrowhawk as a stealthy hunter. This is the Jayhawk. Okay. The controversy of the name Jayhawk did not go over too well with MU. They believed it was not the best name because it was used to describe unsavory assortment of outlaws, independent military bands, and rogue Union troops that burned down the town in Missouri 30 years earlier. The mascot of the Missouri also relates to the Civil War. The Tigers were a Union Home Guard, unit made up of men in the military around Missouri. Their duties were to protect the University of Missouri and areas surrounding from approaching Confederate forces and people who threatened the area. In the 1890s, MU adopted the name Tigers to honor and recognize the fighting spirit of those Civil War guards who protected them. And this is the tiger. In athletics, every year there has been a border war between KU and MU. The border war explores the passion behind this rivalry, its beginnings, and how events that occurred 150 years ago can continue to affect Kansas and Missourians today. Today, people have to refer to it as the Border Showdown, because KU's athletic director, Lou Perkins, stated, "We feel in the aftermath of September 11, 2001, and the ensuing events around the world, it is inappropriate to use the term war to describe intercollegiate athletic events. Although, today, people still call it the border war, because to most people, it is a war to see who has the better team. Growing up, you have to choose to be a KU fan or an MU fan, one or the other. There's no way you can be a little of both. Because the competition between these two schools is so nasty and so intense, they can't even agree on the series of wins and losses between these two schools. Norm Stewart, former MU basketball head coach, took it even farther. When they would have to play in Lawrence, Kansas for a basketball game, he would make his players stay at a Kansas City, Missouri hotel, along with eating and even filling up the bus's gas. He would want to do it in Missouri. He didn't want 1 cent going to Kansas economy. Ever since I was born, I have disliked MU, no doubt about it. My mom was an alumni from MU, but I couldn't get 1% of myself to even think of going there. She took me to visit one time. I didn't even give it the time of day. When seeing the campus and the beautiful houses, I wasn't even interested because I disliked MU that much. I couldn't even be on their campus. In 2011, my freshman year at KU, I saw firsthand how much these schools really hate each other. Even though I've always known what it was like, it felt great to be a KU fan and seeing it all. For basketball, at sports events like basketball and football, you can't find a seat. For basketball games, most KU students camp out for 4 days just to get a spot in Allen Fieldhouse. Even though I've never experienced this, I have been able to go to a lot of border wars with football. The football games take place at Arrowhead Stadium, also known as the Chiefs Stadium. These games are crazy. It's made up of fighting, cussing, and debating with the rival why their school is better. Seeing the hatred each school has for each other is great in the game of sports. That's what rivalry is all about in my point of view. Today, MU has moved to the SEC Conference and is no longer a part of the Big 12 with KU. Missouri decided to move there because of financial reasons and stating it was a better fit for their university. I don't feel like it was the best decision. It ruins the 100-year rivalry between each team, and personally I also think they were too afraid to keep losing to KU. Just kidding. But not being able to look forward to playing MU each year is going to be a change. I grew up counting down the days until they played against each other. Fans of MU will miss it someday, but do I think KU and MU will ever get along in the end? Probably not. I don't think the hatred they have towards each other will ever be solved. So then, show everyone. Oh, this is my graduation cap.
All right. One more time.
They're still here.
This concludes the speech of Liz Corman.